I had the worst date with a guy, but I ended up giving him a second chance. On this date, he took me to Christmas in the park. If you don't know what that is, there's just a bunch of Christmas decoration and a lot of people go. And at first, me and him were vibing, we were having a good time, we were laughing, we were eating. The night was starting to end, and I could tell that he was planning on kissing me. He was getting very nervous, and he couldn't stand still. In my mind, I was like, boy, just do it. And well, he ended up kissing me. Let me just tell you, it was the worst freaking kiss ever. I'm not gonna lie, his saliva was so sticky. Like, I could feel it on my lips after that. I don't know if he just didn't drink water or what it was, but after that, we never spoke again. How cute are my lashes though? I was sweeping at the store that I was working at. A man comes in, he looks at me and he tells me, you have very nice features. And right away I feel something weird. I feel like he was a psychic or something similar. And usually my intuition is on point. And he tells me if he could see my hand. I'm not a strong believer in those things, but I was curious. I was like, here you go. He told me that I was going to be very successful in life, hopefully, and that I was going to die in my 80s. I felt so relieved after hearing that because every day I would wake up and I would think that I was going to die soon. He went on to tell me to think of a flower and also the person that I loved at the moment. I thought about it. He wrote it down on a piece of paper and he handed it to me. I looked at the paper and what I had chosen was a rose and someone's name, and the paper said exactly the same thing. I was dating a guy from the church that I used to go to. And you guys already know that people are super chismosos. They love gossip, even if they go to church. So, I was trying to keep it low-key. I didn't want people to know that I was talking to this guy. I don't know how people started finding out, but his sister found out. And let me tell you, she was so jealous off of him. His own sister. She used to call other people from church and she would just complain and just be so mad because his brother was getting ready to see me. She was saying that I wasn't holy enough, that I didn't dress right, that I wasn't a woman of God. And all the BS that you could imagine. Homegirl was really judgmental. But the more I heard of her being mad and crying over it, the more I wanted to go out with him. And that's exactly what I did because, no, petty me does not play. And that is not your man, girl. When I went to Mexico, I used to live at my cousin's house, right? And this girl would always want me to go pick her up from school. I used to drive her brother's truck. And this wasn't a normal truck. These are the ones that are lifted up with the big old tires. So this certain day that I'm picking her up from school, my little niece comes and I tell her, I'm like, do you want to come with me? And she's like, yes, I want to go. So I'm like, perfect. She hops on the car and I start reversing it back. And all of a sudden I hear a dog bark. So right away I look at her and I'm like, open up the door. So she opens up the door and she looks to the side and she's like, there's nothing there. So I open up my door and I look to the side and I see this dog under the big old tire. This was not a random dog. This was my cousin's dog. The tire was on his body and he was just staring at me. So quickly I drive to the front. I start freaking out and I'm like, oh my goodness, how could I do this? I felt like a murderer. I'm running out of time, but like for part 2. I used to work at a store and some guy came in and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my freaking husband. He looked so cute. He was a cowboy. He asked for my phone number and I was like, hell yes. He told me that he used to be married but got a divorce. And I was like, you know what? I need to see documents to make sure that this is true. And he showed me and yeah, it was true. So he asked me on a date. And that day I was working till 12. We went to Denny's since it was really late. Let me tell you, the whole freaking day, he was just talking about his ex. He would tell me stories about them. He even told me that he got surgery with her, like skinnier. He even showed me a freaking picture of her. I was so freaking over it, but I was like, you know what? It's free food, so whatever. My question is, why go on a date if you love someone else? But how cute are my lashes though? I'm about to expose my ex-boyfriend. This is honestly one of the weirdest situations I've ever been in. So one day me and him were just hanging out. He was intoxicated and he decided to tell me a story of a time when he was young and he was intoxicated. Oh my gosh, I even feel uncomfortable even saying it. So he said that when he was young, he seen his mom laying on the couch. He went up to her and he said that he kissed her in the mouth. My face was in shock. He would also slap his mom's butt. And I always thought that was really weird just because I've never seen it in my household. But then I would brush it off and think maybe other families do this. After he told me that story, I did think it was super weird. Never really told anybody this story just because it's super awkward. But how cute are my lashes though? They're super comfortable, and link is in my bio if you guys want to check it out. Bye. I was 18 years old and I started dating a 23-year-old. And this man had a crazy ex-girlfriend. When I met him, they were broken up for a few months. Anyways, we started dating, and guess what? When she found out that he had a girlfriend, she ended up showing up to his house in the middle of the night, knocking on his windows, trying to talk to him. I would always call him and blow up his phone. And one day, me and him were in a parking lot and she called him. He answered and they were talking, and she was just begging him to come back. She said that she'll do anything, that she'll give him money, diamonds, or even give him a child. That same phone call, she spoke to me also. At one point, she started crying and then all of a sudden started laughing. While laughing, she said that she was gonna do witchcraft on me. Brujeria. I was like, oh hell no, I am not talking to this girl. My boyfriend showed up to my house randomly one day. I had just woken up and I got ready so fast in my room. Mom told him that he could wait in the living room. She ended up jumping in the shower. I went outside to the living room and we ended up going to his house. And I was there. My mom called me. She said that there was $350 on the table and that one $50 bill was missing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I had to find out the truth. So I told him to take me to Jack in the Box. We went through the drive-thru. I was so mad, but I had to keep it together. I knew that he only paid with 20s. He never paid with 50s. I ordered my food and I was waiting to see what bill he pulled out. And guess what, guys? It was a $50 bill. Then I looked at him and told him, don't pay with my mom's money. I grabbed my purse, pulled out a 20, and told him, pay with my money. His eyes just popped open. He knew he got caught.